A special Sunday sessions. I'm gonna mix it up today. Let's throw this little one right here. Skywalker, what's up, brother? ¿Cómo estamos? Thank you. To a little interview. Leatherface, how you doing? Welcome. I like this. Let's see this one right here. There we go. Today is a cool day. Normally do these on Wednesdays, but I really wanted to talk to this girl. She owns a clothing line, Legendary Empowerment. Super cool chick. I had her dude like at the beginning of my sessions. Super great break dancer, and today we get to talk to his girl, which you'll see us wear a lot of their clothing. They hook us up. They definitely sponsor us. They're sponsoring Women's Empowerment Month here on RebelDaze702. And we wanted to talk to her, talk about her accomplishments, talk about her time in the Rebel days and stuff like that. So thank you all for taking a part of your day to come and chill with us here. A couple of minutes, we'll get going. I literally just got back from California. Took the fam out there to Huntington Beach. The weather was beautiful. It was great. Had a great time. So I'm a little dark skinned it today. Baking on the sun. Took my son out for his first time on the beach. It was awesome. We're dipping on some Red Bull. If you guys didn't know, we have another page called RD702 Side B, and that's just gonna be straight out just music. But I appreciate everybody showing up today, everybody coming down. So Johnny Juice, what's going on? Miss A702 Hardcore, what's up, brother? Roach, what's up, man? Saw you guys were checking out the other page. So that page is strictly and only DJs, no glitz or glamour. That thing is just gonna go jump on and throw down or whatnot, whatever. So if you guys ain't following, go ahead and follow it. It's R RebelDaze702 Side B. That's our little backup page. And what's up, Ralphie boy? Rafael Garcia just got off a set over there on the other page. DJ Hardcore. Want to give you guys the best that we can here from Vegas. New Cap, what's up? Today's drink we're having one of my favorite beers. Big Wave Golden Ale. Sweet beer, man. Super sweet, super smooth. Nothing of that craziness. And top it off with my favorite yellow Red Bull and of course the water. Alright, let's get this party going. Welcome to another exciting episode of Sessions on RebelDaze702. I'm your host, Grease. Special Sunday. The only way I could get a chance to talk to this young lady, and I've been wanting to talk to her for a very long time. She has been a big supporter of the page when we barely started. We're all from the same party scene. Super happy that she is gonna be joining us today. Very happy. She has contributed to a lot of things. You guys could go check out her page. It's Legendary Empowerment. You guys got to check it out. Her page is amazing. She does a lot for the community. Her clothing line is pretty cool, really cool style, all that good stuff. So if you guys haven't had a chance, check it out. You'll see us running around with Legendary Empowerment shirts, nostalgic, very cool girl, and very cool gear. Today she made me one specially for the whole month. So August was we're gonna close it off today, but August was Women's Empowerment Month. We wanted to give a little back to the women that brought into the party scene and whatnot. So she made this really cool shirt. Rebel Days on top, Legendary Empowerment, fighting girl like Che Guevara. Boom. So here we go. let's go ahead and invite her to the party. See where we got her here. Boom. Set her little invitation here, and let's see here.
Hey!
What's
Finally!
up? I know.
What's up?
Not much. Finally got a chance to talk to you. Wow, it took a while, but we're here.
I know. I love it. It looks good on you. I made a special
better
one for today. Taking it back.
Oh. Yeah, we're gonna. All right.
Yeah, so thank you for taking like a special time out on Sunday. I guess like a little.
It always likes to mess up on me when we start doing this stuff. I could stream all day for my son, but as soon as we got to do business. All right, let's get to it. All right, so introduce yourself for the people that don't know you, who you are, what you do.
Okay, I'm Bree. If you knew me in the 90s, you probably knew me as Dimples. Nobody calls me that really anymore, except for like my OG homegirls from Exotic. You know, they'll still say it. Yeah, I'm from Exotic Illusions. We were primarily a West Side crew, but we had people like Central, East Side also. We had members from Valley, Bonanza, Horizon, Clark. But yeah.
So tell me, how'd you start? How'd you get into the party scene? What was your first party?
It's actually a super funny story, and I'm really glad my homegirl from the crew is on here listening because she was a major part of it. Shout out to Tika, check out her music. So I just moved here from Hawaii in 97, and I was going to Bonanza, and I was like the middle of my freshman year. And this group of girls asked me to join a party crew, and it was called Dirty Minded Divas. Didn't last very long. We were together maybe for like a few months, and I was at the compound over there on Presidio, and I was literally dancing in a cage, and I turned around, and my homegirl, well, became homegirl, Unique, was standing there, and she was like, "Hey, you're Dimples," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're Unique," and she was from a crew called Latina Psycho Queens. And she's like, you know, I think we should meet up and like collab somehow. And I'm like, all right, you know. So we had a meeting and we decided to merge our two crews together, and that birthed Exotic Illusions.
Okay.
Yeah. So not all the members stayed, but I would say the core members of us did. And then we grew from there.
Nice. Did you guys throw any raves? What was your first rave?
So we were mostly backyard boogies. I mean, the goal was always to get a rave in the warehouse, but we were definitely like a backyard boogie crew. You know, we of course attended all the warehouse raves and stuff like that. Started off, my first one was the Lick. You know, that was the first time I went to a rave, was at the Lick. And then started going to, you know, the compound when they were having parties over there. And then our personal parties were always mostly backyard boogies. And one time we had it in like a clubhouse that we rented out. But other than that, they were mostly like backyard boogies. With kegs and DJs and a little gate fee and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's cool. How long were you in the party scene for? I know you guys did it for a while.
Well, I moved here in 97 and I graduated in 2000. So probably, honestly, like my lifespan in that scene was probably only like 3 or 4 years. You know, my friends did it longer. I moved back to Hawaii for a little bit. So, and then came back. But yeah.
What part of Hawaii are you from?
Oahu.
Oahu? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to my honeymoon in Maui. Beautiful, beautiful. I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over there so bad.
Maui's beautiful. I got a couple of friends over there. But yeah, it's totally different from Oahu. Like 2 different lifestyles, but they're both beautiful.
Yeah, more chill. I'm imagining a little bit more chill.
Yeah, Maui's way more chill. Way more laid back, slower, more chill, and not as industrialized as Oahu is. Yeah.
Right on. So you went to these parties, got into it, started hanging out with these girls, and you guys created a exotic, great freaking crew. From what I hear a lot of positive feedback. Obviously, when we started this page, you jumped on real quick and supported us, and for that we thank you very much. For those that have seen the page and know who she is, she has a clothing line, and you'll see us with legendary shirts, whatnot. Nostalgic is my drug. This shirt, and many other shirts that she's hooked us up with and we help each other out. So I really appreciate it. Now that we're live, thank you very much. What took you to that? Let me talk about the clothing line a little bit. How did you get into that? What sparked that? Because your clothing is so unique, and the Wonder Chore line, like there's so many cool like artworks to it. How did this all start?
Party crew days. To be honest, yeah. So that's honestly how it started. I used to have a composition book, and like I would sketch out my little ideas on the composition book. And I mean, I didn't know anything about printing or anything like professional back then, so I used to just go to Walmart and get the iron-on letters, and I would like customize them on like freaking everything, you know, for me, my homegirls. And then Fantastic Indoor Swap Meet was my best friend. I used to take, you know, my hoodies and my beanies, or, you know, my jackets there. So we had windbreakers for our jackets. So like the leads had white jackets, and then we had our name on the front, and then our crew on the back, and then everyone else in the crew had navy jackets. So yeah, thanks to Fantastic Indoor Spot Meet. So yeah, that all sparked it, because I get that question a lot, like, how did you start? And I'm like, well, it really started back in like the party crew days, and I just kept customizing stuff. Like my friend that's on here right now, she was in a band, and you know, when she'd perform, like I would customize my wife beater or whatever to say her band name, you know, and show up to her performance like that. And so I just kind of kept doing it throughout my life with like embroidery or iron-ons. And then one day I was just like, I want to make like real shit, you know, and that was 7 years ago. So I had no idea how to go about making legitimate, like a real clothing line. I made a lot of expensive mistakes, and a lot of trial and error, but you know, you learn from that. So
yeah, I mean, your page, a lot of people already knew you were representing Vegas in other pages, whatnot. A good buddy of ours, House Party in the 90s, he had talked to you before, and I didn't know that how much you had gone out to like represent the 702 and the scene already with your clothing line. And I started looking through your pictures, and I'm like, my God, like, you know, you had these cholas looking, you know, real tough and G'd out with their shirts, and then you get the soft girls and they're still G'd up with your shirts. So it was super cool to see like so much dynamic in your clothing line. And now that you say, you know, coming back from like the party scene, how you went about doing that, and it's super like admirable to see what you've done.
House parties.
Yeah, there he is right there. What's up,
yeah, love house parties in the 90s. It was you know, me and him met when he first started his page too, just like you guys. And it was like, as soon as I seen that, I was like, oh my God, our scene's being represented, like fuck yeah. You know, I was like super stoked about it, you know, because I'm a big time nostalgic junkie. And shit, I forgot to bring that blue binder out. I have this blue binder. It's probably one of those, it would be one of the totes in the garage on the right. But I have this blue binder I put together in high school, and it's like, I mean, I have bins of freaking pictures. Everyone used to make fun of me because they'd be like, God, fucking Dimples and her fucking disposable cameras. Because every time we went out, I'd have to stop at like a CVS or corner store and get a disposable camera. And I'm like, damn, Dimples is taking pictures again. Fuck. I'm like, you guys are going to appreciate it one day. Watch. You're going to appreciate it. And now they're, you know, I think some of our pictures are probably embarrassing to us, and then others are like great memories. So it works out, you know. But I made this whole like scrapbook thing, and that's like where I sent you a lot of the pictures from.
Mm-hmm.
So I made that in high school, and I've just kept it.
Which I really really appreciate it, because when we started the page, it was literally just pictures and flyers, and then you start sharing your pictures, and it's like fuel to the page. It's like, oh my God, look at this, look at that, and then people go on there and like, oh my God, look, that's how they used to dress and how they're dressing now, and like, dude, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have any phones, we didn't have any, you know, video cameras that were easy to carry around, you know. So people that save the pictures and whatnot really really help out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, my dude, he's got so much footage of him b-boying, and I do have a VHS tape for you, but I need a damn VCR. He has one at his house, so we've been meaning to bring it over, and I'll get you some footage. I have one videotape. It's not of us at a rave, but it's us cruising the strip on my 18th birthday. So the strip looks totally different than it does now. Like, so stuff like that would be cool to see. So I'll have to bust that out one of these days. This is the binder, though. It's like falling apart because I go through it so much. Because I'm constantly going back in here for inspiration. So, you know, it's just hella freaking, you know, I got Teen Angel shit, if you guys remember those days. So I used to Xerox the magazines so I could like write letters to my friends and stuff like that. So just a bunch of high school pictures and collages that I put in a binder, and it's just like those page report plastic things. But yeah, that's my like main archive there that I go to for inspiration, and then I'll post it every once in a while on my page just for people to see like the roots of Legendary, like, you know, why is she inspired by this or that, like this is where it's coming from, you know.
You know, and I could see the inspiration to it, because it's like, at the time living that, I mean, I lived in North Las Vegas, and most of my buddies, or most of my people that I grew up with, that we went to all three schools, they were all cholos or cholas. They were all OG, and I ran with them. We knew them. We kicked it. I went a different route, but we were still cool, and I still got the opportunity to sit down and watch Lowrider Magazine, Art LeBeau's, and you know, the Teen Angels and all that good stuff. And when I see your page, it's like, wow, look at all this stuff. Like, it's super cool, and the style's, you know, like nostalgic, and it doesn't die, you know, and it looks really sick. So I'm really happy that you kept that nostalgic twist to everything you do, I guess. Yeah, you know, that's super cool. I like
Thank
that.
you. I'm glad someone else appreciates it.
Oh, we appreciate it here, trust me, because it was at the beginning. My good buddy OC, he had a bunch of pictures and flyers, and that's how we started. And then I kept asking people, hey, have you got anything? And then you hit me up, and you're like, I got all kinds of stuff. Like, bring it on down. I don't care. And before I know it, I got so many pictures of you and your homegirls and everything. And it really paints a picture to people that maybe are from another party scene, from another city, that we get a lot, that we wanted to show that we actually had a great party scene here too. And people that forgot about it, I get a lot of times people jump on like, oh my God, oh, I remember that cage, or I remember seeing that girl, you know, dancing or whatnot, but, you know, they didn't know who it was, and this and that. So it's super cool that we get to do this. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you showing that to us, and bringing that, you know, into fruition for everybody to see. Super cool. Love it.
Super close to my heart. So, I mean, it's some of the best years of my life. Was that it was a big deal for me to move from Hawaii to here. So, I mean, I was super heartbroken to leave, but then I was really excited to go to the mainland and, you know, experience what that was like. And that's what I walked into. And so, like, my heart's in two places now. It's in Vegas and Hawaii, you know, and it's just, yeah. Those are the golden years for me, for sure.
This is
That's
the
like, you
ninth
know, when I
island.
met all my friends. What's that? Ninth
This is
Island,
the ninth
yes.
island. Yeah, this is the ninth island. So
It
you're not too
wasn't
far
like that,
away.
though, when I moved here. So when I first moved here, I mean, the only place you could get local food from was the Cow. So I would have to drive, you know, downtown to get any local food. It wasn't as saturated as it is now, where you look right or left now and there's someone from Hawaii, you know, everywhere. But it wasn't like that then. But yeah, so the party crew, like, it was dope because it was like this family that I came into when I moved here, and I super needed that support system because of that whole transition during that time of being a teenager, you know?
Hmm. It
So
must be
it was,
tough. It's tough moving from, not just from another state, but like coming, clear across another culture from what you grew up with to being here in Vegas. And Vegas is a melting pot. I always tell a lot of people is you will eventually end up with a bunch of people you would never think about hanging out with, like best friends from Montana and Idaho, and like different people just kind of like melting together to form the foundation of Vegas. And you could see it now, like you said before, there wasn't a lot of Hawaiians. Now there's Hawaiians everywhere. And, for us coming when I came here in '88 from LA, it was really hard to find just your basic tortillas. You know what I mean? You had to go to certain places to get it. Now you could get them anywhere. Mexican food everywhere, Hawaiian food everywhere. I'm a huge Hawaiian
yeah.
food fan. I love Hawaiian food. Island flavor, hands down, the best for me. And so I know, I'm a foodie at heart, so I eat a lot. So, but yeah,
Hey, Hans,
that's.
love you.
I'm glad that you found
Um,
a good support system here for make for your homestay.
yeah, I did. It's definitely like a core part of me and a core part of my brand. So, um, but yeah, I mean, Vegas it's been really good to me, and it was different, and I like that it's a melting pot. Hawaii's a melting pot too. So, it's just, they are different, but you brought up earlier about house parties in the 90s, and like I remember when they first featured a picture of mine that I shared with them, like a lot of the reactions of the comments were like, Vegas had a party scene. And
Yes.
I'm like, why is that
Yes.
always the question? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, we did, and it was fucking dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't I don't really know the difference because I mean I had went to some raves in OC in LA during those times, but I guess it wasn't enough for me to know how different the actual scene was. But I know for us, like, it was really diverse here. And I liked that, like I had friends that were like into happy hardcore. There's a couple girls in our crew that were into happy hardcore. And, even though that wasn't really my thing, like we would go to those raves to support each other. Like, oh, there's happy hardcore raves, so we're going to go and fucking wear all the colorful fucking shit on our wrists and shit and support our homies. But yeah, I don't
The,
know.
the thing about Vegas compared to Southern California is Southern California had the clubs, had the big radio stations supporting the music. Chicago had the music supporting. It was a lot of support, a lot of push for that scene. And for us, we were strictly 100% underground. If you try to open a club out of the strip, it would get shut down. If one of these big promoters found out that you're throwing a rave on their day, they would call the cops on you. So we were literally like super underground, from literally breaking into warehouses to finding spots in the desert just to do our events. And when we went to Cali,
Yes.
it was like you go and you put on Power 106 and Power 2s, and hey, there's a rave happening, blah blah, down the street, blah blah. Like, that's awesome. And we didn't have that. 98.5 was just playing top 40s, and that was it. That's all we had. So,
Yeah, that's true.
so it was tougher than when you tell people, hey, I'm from Vegas, and we had a party scene, and these are the DJs we had. We had Irene. We had Bad Boy Bill. We had Humpty
Hmm.
Vigil. We had Henry. They came and partied here. So, it's surprising to a lot of people. So I'm glad that we get this opportunity. And I say we because you're in this big, huge boat that we're driving together here, because you've helped out so much, and because of Nostalgic pushing this to let people know, hey, we did party here too, and we're finally getting the opportunity to show them off. So
Yeah.
it's super cool.
I met Irene somewhere before she like blew up at some rave on the east side. I just can't remember what venue it was. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, our stuff was thrown at like, dance halls a lot and warehouses. And I always wondered, I mean, we didn't ever know. I mean, remember at our meetings, we're like, how do these people come out with these like glossy, hard flyers? Like our flyers were just made from like fucking computers and shit that we
Yep.
Xerox, like cheap fucking shit that I was trying to design on my home computer, take it to work, and take it to school and Xerox it and shit. And they were so fucking ghetto. But we had like this one dope flyer that this girl designed for us. I mean, to us, it was like dope as shit. And it was cardstock, and it was blue and just black. It wasn't glossy or anything, you know what I mean? But we were so fucking proud of that flyer. Like, you know, that flyer to us was like so legit, you know, and like, yeah. We didn't have the glossy fancy cardstocks, but I think our crew, like, honestly, it ran a lot. It's pretty similar to how Legendary is that. So for instance, we were hanging out at a park in like the Spring Valley area on the west side, and we met these guys that were from LA that had moved their party crew out here, and they were called Too Unique, and they invited us to this house party they were having. We're like, okay, cool, we're gonna go to this house party, right? So we go to the house party, and back then at the house parties, we got on top of the tables instead of go-go stands, right? We used the tables to get on top of and dance. So I was on top of the table, and I was dancing, and I was like screaming their freaking name. I'm all like, Too Unique, Too Unique. And then in between, I'd be like, Exotic, right? And they're like, tripped out. They're like, damn, like, you're supporting us? I'm like, well, why not? You know, like, why wouldn't I? I'm like, thank you for having us at your party. And they're like tripping out. I guess they're just so used to like battling with other crews. They're like, but I'm not used to another crew promoting us, you know? And that's really kind of like how I operate my business too. Like, I'm all about supporting small business big time, you know, and I'm always shouting out other businesses. I'm always buying from other businesses. I'm not asking for free shit. I will legit fucking order from you. Like, you know what I mean? And if you're good people, I'm going to work with anybody. And that's pretty much how we operated as a party crew too.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell. I mean, like I said, you just kind of jumped on and were like, hey, what you need, we got you. And, you know, we'll talk about a little bit later about what we got this weekend that you're a part of, that you talked to Rafael Garcia about. And we'll talk about that and what we're doing with the 90s, because that's super dope. And we definitely got to shout you out for that as well. So tell me, how was it being a woman or being a girl? Because this is like, right, you know, the teenage years. So being a teenage girl, being a teenage woman, in between being a girl and a woman in the party scene, what did you experience being the girl? Like, I mean, you guys came in and said, okay, we're going to build a party scene. We're going to throw parties. How hard was it, or how easy was it? What did you see in comparison to being like, you know, from a guy party crew party scene?
I was like mad serious about my fucking crew. So so me and Unique like ran the crew. We were the leads, and I took our crew very serious, and I wanted our reputation really good. And you know, so we would meet the girls and get to know them or whatever, and then if everyone vibed with them good, it sounds so silly now, but we used to have them like audition for us, so they would have to dance for us in someone's living room. And they probably felt, I feel horrible that was like our process. We should have got up and danced with them, but we're like, okay, here's some music, now dance for us. You know? But yeah, I took it really serious. Like, if you attended meetings or not, I took it really serious. If you were repping the crew or not. And we did have rules, like if you were going to get kicked out, if you didn't attend stuff, it wasn't personal. It was just that you weren't as committed as some of the other members were. Mm-hmm. And like, I wanted to operate it like a business, and I just had certain goals for it, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know how different really, I guess the guys maybe had a little more drama than the girls, but you know, like beefing or whatever. But I mean, we've got along with pretty much everybody. I think there was like one crew back in the day that we got into it with, and it was really with one girl against another girl or something, but just because we were in the crew, you know, we were involved. So like on our info lines, they were like leaving little messages and shit that were pretty funny. But better than that, everything was like pretty peaceful and unity, and it was just like the best time of our life, you know, at least for
Yeah, I
me.
mean, it's funny how you say like you were the lead, you and your homegirl were the lead, and you kind of
Hmm.
had like wanted to run like a business, and here you are, so many years later, running your own business is almost like you were meant for that, like training real quick before you started doing what you're doing now, you know? I
Yeah,
always
maybe
say that
that's what it was. It was the training wheels.
the training was to be like, all right, so yeah, so
Yeah.
next time somebody wants to, come in and wear my shirt, I'm just gonna not gonna make them dance. Maybe like we'll talk business another way, but
No. I feel bad, but you know, that was just kind of like what it was. It was like, well, you're joining a party crew. You got to show that you're down. I don't know.
No, we all had processes. I mean, for our crew, it was you hung out and you kicked it, and if you showed you were cool with the crew and you were down and you dressed the part, like welcome aboard. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. And then I mean, now that I think about it, I don't like to think about a lot of the negative things we did because there's a lot of times that we didn't invite people that should have been in because maybe they didn't look the part, but they still hung out all the time. So we felt bad. I feel bad for doing all that stuff, but we grow up and, we were kids back then. What do we know? And now we're like, man, I'm sorry, shit messed up. But, we turn the page and we keep going and we learn from our mistakes. And obviously here we are, sitting again, reminiscing only the good times and try to forget all the bad times.
Of course. Like, I'm so glad that 20 years later, we're talking about it. I think it's dope.
I know. I love it. We had to do a history book, and that's what we're doing. Just writing a history book about what happened, and maybe 20 years later, we'd be old and gray, and we could come back and reminisce what we did 20 years prior to that, about 20 years before that. So,
Yes.
super cool
Yes.
with that. Um, Tell me a little bit about your girls from your crew. Like, how many did you have? Do you still talk to them? Like, what was their what you see off of them? What happens 20 years later?
Um, yeah, most of us are still in touch. At the height of it, we had, and the only reason I know this is because of my binder that I showed you earlier.
Hmm.
Um, we had a total of 22 members at one time. Um,
Hmm.
but not everyone stayed in for the whole length of years that I was,
Hmm.
active in it and whatnot. But there was 22 exoticas, and then there was like a core group of us, and the core of us definitely still keep in touch. We don't see each other as often as we'd like, just because, adulting and stuff. But
What happened?
you have families and careers and things just change. I became a mom really young. So, I mean, I fell out of the party scene pretty young because I became a mom really young. Um, like I said, one of the other girl that's a lead, she's a really dope musician. Her page is Tika Ray, so you can look at it there. She does all kinds, just all around dope fucking artist. So she's evolved and done that, and we went as a crew, still supporting her at her shows for many, many years. I don't know the last time she's performed now, but she was, probably the first 10 years out of high school performing a lot, like at Zia Records and stuff like that. And that's when we'd get together and see each other as a crew still, like repping for our homegirl, our sister.
No, that's cool. I mean, the family that's created when you make these crews, and a lot of people, even though we might not hang out anymore or might not be in touch, it's I always say you leave a good impression when you could not talk to somebody for 5 to 10 years and all of a sudden start talking to them and pick up right where you guys left off. Like that to me is family that you create in these crews. And I have a lot of friends that maybe I don't talk to or haven't talked to, and then all of a sudden I did this page, they start calling, and it's literally like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And we just pick up right where we left off 20 years ago, ditching school to go to, to a house party or whatnot. So
Yeah.
it's always
I mean,
good.
that's what,
No, go
same
ahead.
with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into one of the girls, Lady Love. I don't think she's on here because she deleted her Instagram, but I ran into her first Friday before the whole COVID thing. So, I mean, I see them here and there, just not as often as I like. But we still show each other support in whatever we're doing. And honestly, like, I know I could pick up the phone and still call them, and they could do the same, you know? Doesn't matter how much time goes by, they're still family.
Yeah, that never dies. That definitely never
Yeah.
dies. Wow. So tell me, let me see. We're talking about all this great stuff. What was the best rave you ever went to here in Vegas? Like the one that left the impression?
I mean, I know everybody jocks Candy Factory because it was so big, and kind of Candy Factory kind of came around like towards the end of me being in the party scene. But for me, the compound was probably some of the best memories. So if you went to high school with me at Horizon, you probably remember that I had to drive this very big, embarrassing van. And like, the only thing it was good for is I could pick up like 1 million people and pack them in there and take them somewhere, right? But, you know, I shared it with my dad, and my dad was really dope and supportive of the crew. He actually would take some of my stuff, drop it off to get it embroidered for me. So he was like supportive of the whole thing, and he picked us up before and dropped us off at the compound and pick us up later, you know, just to make sure that we were driving safely and stuff like that. But I would say the compound, and then some of the Latin clubs, El Rey, Latin Beat, yeah, the Lick, yeah, El Sinaloense, you know, all those are probably like my favorite little spots to go to. So Candy Factory was dope. It was real big, a little psychedelic for me because I wasn't into that shit. But but you know, but it was a cool experience, and it was kind of like, I guess, the precursor to what EDC would be like. I've never been to EDC, but you know, because to me EDC is so different from my experience of being at raves. You know, totally different look, different music to me. But Candy Factory kind of was like a preview of what was to come because of its whole like psychedelic look and all the lights and I don't know, just the visual effects that they had in there. So yeah.
Yeah,
my dad was lit. I love you, Jamie. That van was so embarrassing. I'm gonna tell you, people. I got so much shit driving that thing at Horizon West. I graduated from Horizon West. I started at Bonanza, but I went to Horizon West too. So.
That was, I always say that, like for me, the party scene kind of died when our party scene died when that new party scene came in, the Candy Factory, the Generation X waves. We didn't know how to take it when they started coming in with, you know, colored suspenders and like bracelets with different colors and lights and stuff like that. We were used to seeing maybe a strobe light and a freaking different light, and that was it for the DJs. And you know, the battling was different. You had your break dancers, and then you had your rebels, and then all of a sudden the groovers came in doing it with the Mickey Mouse gloves and stuff like that. And it was a hard pill to swallow because we knew it was over. You know what I mean? And
the tied backpacks and shit. And
yes.
They'd be passing around like party favors. I went to this rave across the street from UNLV. I don't remember the name of the place. They used to have some trippy ass coffee shop over there too. Unique. I'm sure you remember it. They had like it's kind of got. It was near that area, but it wasn't that place. Because it was like a 2-story building, but it was below. Anyway, but that was like one of.
No, it's called Cafe Espresso Roma.
Is that the one with the vampire people?
It was downstairs. UNLV, like Kinko's.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but that was one of my first experiences of being at a rave where they're passing out like the candy favors and shit, and I was like, "Fuck that! I ain't gonna stamp on my arm. I don't know what the fuck's in this shit."
I don't trust you guys. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I partied, but not like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was just like, that was, but it was cool. I mean, it was a cool experience. Whatever. But yeah, most of it was, dude, I swear one of your pictures, the one that I took your picture from for the flyer, your group photo, I swear that group photo was taken at one of our parties. I'm like, dude, this looks like the backyard of like from the whole scene of you guys reminds me of this party we threw, but it was a backyard boogie on the west side. And so like a couple of crew members left from Exotic and they started their own crew, and they were called Seductive Image, and then we still threw a party together with them. And but that's the one it was called the Payback was the party name. And but it was a backyard boogie, Chael DJ'd, and then we had cakes and shit. We were charging like $3 at the gate. We thought we were fucking balling, you know, when we made like $300 on the party, splitting it among like 12 of us.
Hey, that's
but
a good
we were
one.
like so stoked. We're like, oh my God, we made $300, you know.
Is it the picture you guys shared where you guys are flossing all that money?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
300 bucks at a party. That's good. That's good. You did a good job there.
We're like, well, we were charging $3 a head, you know, but when you think about it, it was like, that was a lot to split. But honestly, our money just went into having the next party. I mean, we did yard sales to have enough money to pay a DJ and to, there's pictures I have of us somewhere in this book of us like holding cardboard signs up on like Okie and freaking Torrey Pines, like trying to wave people down to come to our yard sale. We were like, all right, homegirls, grab everything from your fucking house that you don't think you need and you're going to sell. And we're all going to meet up at this girl's house. And we freaking lined everything up in the driveway, fucking sold everything. And that money was to fund for our DJ and our cakes, you know? So, I mean, that's how we did it. I don't know.
That's dope. I like that. Hey, no, hey, we all had a hustle to figure it out, right? All right, cool.
Yeah, we had to figure it out, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I worked, but I worked at Robert Wayne at the Meadows Mall and sometimes at the Boulevard, but I mean, I was making like $5.15 an hour, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I was a dishwasher, so yeah, I was getting paid like 4 and some change to wash dishes. Try to throw parties. I was like, nah, you know, we'll just go to parties. You know, we stopped throwing house parties and stuff like that. And you're right. I mean, for a guy crew to a girl crew, it was a lot of difference because the guy crew, we did have to worry about the dramas and stuff like that. And sometimes it wasn't even our drama, but it ended up spilling up in our parties or whatever. And, you know, unfortunately, bad things happened, and it was like, dude, come on. But you know, it happened. It was part of the scene, I guess. After a while, you know, it kind of just interweaved with it, you know.
yeah.
But what can we do? All right. So around what year did you stop partying?
Well, I moved back to Hawaii in 2001 for like 2 years. Okay. So, yeah. And then when I came back here, like I said, I was a mom already, so I wasn't really doing it as much. Once in a while, I'd go out with my homegirls. But, I mean, Vegas had completely changed by then. You know, when I was in high school, I think the only club that existed was Euphoria. Or not Euphoria, Utopia.
Utopia.
Right? Utopia. Yeah, Utopia. I have footage of us cruising by Utopia too, so I'm gonna try to find it. My dude's got a VCR, so one of these days I gotta get it too. Utopia, and then I think like Raw had just came out from the Luxor, and C2K. Is it called C2K or Y2K? Me and Ralphie always argue about what it was called. Okay, yeah, the Club of the Venetian. You know, those were like the beginner clubs, and I mean, I went to them once in the blue moon, but my life was it was already work and college and being a mommy, so it wasn't in the party scene so much anymore. It was a rare occasion that I was out there. Yeah. So
I mean, you've been a fighter all your life. That's pretty dope. You know what I mean? Coming up, you know, you went to Horizon. You got out. You start going to college. You know, you're a mother. I mean, that's super positive. That's, you know, taking care of business. My respects for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I went to a lot of high schools, but you know, Horizon's got my heart because I was there the last 2 years, and of course I rep Bonanza, but you know,
Yeah,
But
Horizon
yeah,
was a
you know,
party
I mean,
school.
it was, yeah. I went to Jefferson before there too, if you remember Jefferson.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So, and then I just stayed at Horizon and Sunset. I did both, you know, night and day. My senior
Hmm.
year, I had to go, I was so behind because I fucked up so much. I had to go to school from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. my entire senior year to finish. And then I had to do like community service to get credits and shit too. But hey, I graduated on time. So I was like, sweet,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
But
a fighter right there. That's a fighter. My respects. That's a fighter right there. Love it.
thank you.
I would have quit. I would have been like, nope, time out. I'm done. No. I'll
Well, you
figure it
know,
out later.
it took me a really long time to get to like the career I'm at now though, because I moved so much. I went to 5 colleges. So I didn't realize that when you're going to college, like that every college had a set curriculum that you had to take to finish nursing school. So every time I switched to school, I got put behind because they had different requirements. So me going to 5 schools like made it so much worse for me. Um, but yeah, now I've been doing that for 11 years. So I bartended for a long time before that and then been nursing for 11 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And you like that job, especially right now with COVID? How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. There's definitely times where I'm like super burned out on it. I'm not gonna lie. But I really like helping people. I like being that comfort to a patient who's scared. Um,
Hmm.
you know, I like being challenged in my skills. But it is emotionally and physically draining for sure. Your shifts are super long. You're pouring yourself out to strangers all day long. You kind of leave nothing for yourself. So nursing is like, I mean, it's a love and hate relationship for sure.
Hmm.
You know.
Well, I couldn't do it. I mean, that's me sitting down with my wife watching what's that, Grey's Anatomy. That like puts a
Yeah.
toll on my body. I'm just like, well, that's what they go through. It's tough. So I can't do it. So I mean, my hat's to you again because that's super dope. That's super awesome.
Oh, thanks, Drea. Yeah, I kind of joked with my coworkers the other day because we were fucking super slammed, right? And I was like, hey, um, God, I don't know how much I should say on here. It's not like HIPAA or anything. It's just that people who aren't in the
Hmm.
medical field don't have the stomach for it usually. I'll try to like sugarcoat it. But I was like, hey, if somebody asked you to perform this procedure on somebody and that you get X amount of dollars, say your hourly pay, to do this on some stranger in the street, would you do it? They're like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, but this is what we do for 12 hours a day. Like, this is what we chose for our glamorous career. Like, this is what we fucking do. And they're like, well, Bree, when you put it that way, and I was like, well, yeah, that's what we got to look forward to for the rest of our life. You know what I mean? But there's the dope parts of nursing, you know, when you help people out and you really make people feel better and you make family feel secure or you make somebody feel better that like not just physically but emotionally, like that part's super rewarding, you know. Saving a life, I can't even tell you how rewarding that is. But losing a patient is awful. So that's, you know, there's good and bad parts of it. So it's
Man,
definitely not for everybody. I guess just like with any job, you know what I mean? So
I'm like you with whatever you have done, and talking to your man before, and you guys are just like a power couple. It's a literally like what I just pay attention to what you both do, his breakdancing and all that stuff and where it's taking him, and then with you and what you do. Not only are you a mother, you also do, you know, you're a nurse and you also run a full-time clothing line. Like that's a lot on you guys' plate, and you guys still handle it like geez, like nothing. Or I mean, probably what I see, you guys are like, say shit, but you know, maybe it does
yeah,
get a little
no.
tough, but
Floor Rock sees me irritated all the time. I mean, he sees me fed up and irritated. You know what I mean? Poor thing, but he sticks it out. You know, he gets to see the tired me walking, stumbling in the house at
because I love you unconditionally.
8 in the morning, freaking tired. I'm like, don't touch me. I got COVID all over me, dude. I gotta freaking shower first. Like, but you know, I'm like a walking germ, like the walking plague right now. But yeah, you know, that's I mean, the whole reason we got together is, I mean, I remember him back in the 90s, like being at all the parties, like Emergency Room. I used to see him at the raves too, like Compound, and I don't know that place. I think it was like a quinceañera hall on like Bruce and Charleston or something. Camino's Ballroom. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing him there and like breaking and everything. And I knew his name, but I didn't know him personally. I briefly met him at Lowrider several years ago when I was vending there for like 2 seconds. And I just was like, oh, I remember you. You were the B-boy like in the 90s. Like I remember seeing you everywhere. And then we got connected because I wanted to start filming this docu-series on YouTube called Vegas Legends. And it was to highlight everybody's talent here. So I only got to do 2 episodes, but they are on my YouTube if you look up Legendary Empowerment. And I only got to do 2 episodes because of the COVID thing and just everything's, I guess, happened. But it was to highlight Drea, who's on here right now. Shout out to Dream Up Hair Studio. She was featured on there. So I wanted to get talents, like 2 contrasting talents, and then finding a common ground in them, right? So I wanted to showcase any type of Vegas talent. I didn't care what it was, whether it was, you know, dancing or hair or whatever. So the first episode is I really wanted to work with Floor Rock. I was like, you know, I could want to work on this project with this fucking legendary B-boy like that, you know, I remember from the Vegas scene and everything. So we were friends for about 8 months, just, you know, working on this project together before we ever started dating. And then we shot it at Drea's hair studio, the Dream Up Hair Studio. I'm so lucky I got stuck with you, boo. And so that's how I met Drea. And she specialized in like vintage hairstyling and stuff. So it was cool though, because when we got together, none of us knew that somewhere in this whole mix that we had this common ground somewhere. Because I'm not in the rockabilly scene. My dude likes that shit. Drea likes that shit. They also both like punk that I'm not really into. I'm more just like, I don't know, hip hop and reggae, and that's more my like go-to, you know, anything 90s for sure. And so we filmed this episode, and it highlighted the hair and the b-boying, and then somewhere where it met a common ground. And then the second episode was Dope Dead Gorgeous, my friend Ashley, and she's a local makeup artist, and we featured Libby Luck, who is a female tattoo artist here. So we did that episode, and there were supposed to be more and more and more, but it hasn't happened yet. But fingers crossed, it will still happen.
Of course, there's always more time than anything, and this COVID thing won't last forever, so we'll definitely get there. Real quick, we have 5 minutes. I do definitely want to touch on this before, you know, my next question, but real quick, you're also an activist. You and your dude, Floor Rock, you guys are activists, and I'm an activist by heart as well. I love seeing you guys holding the signs, going to these rallies and whatnot. So definitely I had to touch on that because that's super dope. My mad props from me to you guys because that's super dope as well. Adding to all the things you guys do already together. So that's
God, I need to talk to this dude like every day. Like, I'm like, oh, thank you.
Nah, credit's due. Credit's due. That's how I am. I'm always gonna give everybody credit. I don't, you know, what I mean, it's positive is always good, and you got to give it props, you know.
Thank you. Hey, Leanne. I got into the activist world, I guess, probably like officially probably like 7 years ago when I started my business is when I like, stayed consistent with it. And I've done like every cause that you can think of, anytime anyone's ever asked for anything. I'm definitely big on social injustices. And I think the greatest thing that we can do is serve others, and even if it's just putting a smile on somebody's face, like that goes so far, you know what I mean? Just shifting somebody's mood goes so far. That's still a service to others. It doesn't always have to be monetary. So I just, and hopefully it inspires other people to give back and to get involved and to, there's, the world doesn't evolve around us. It's huge, and we all got to help each other out. And that helping each other out is what's going to keep everything going and keep the world turning. And, same thing as small business. You support another small business, that person appreciates it so much, and they will, if I make a sale, then I'm going to go put my money in some other small business. Like, I'm going to go get that shirt I've been wanting or whatever. And it's like a circle. And it's the same thing with activist stuff. And I know it's a lot of uncomfortable conversations that the world's having right now, but they need to be had. And I'm hoping through all this ugliness that there's just going to be this big awakening and a shift and change, and people are going to be more united and more conscious of each other's feelings, and just, learn about other cultures and have more empathy. And I hope something positive comes from it. I feel like it is. So
power to you, girl, because that's awesome. I support all that. Me and my wife do the same thing. And we always talk about how you're involved with the community, and we love that. And from us here at Rebel Days, thank you very much for all that you do. With that being said, I wanted to bring this out before we run out of time, that Legendary Empowerment has been supporting us from day one, and we will support them till we're done and beyond. And we have a big, huge announcement happening on Saturday. We'll be doing something we'll be taking our page from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock to House Party in the 90s, one of the biggest pages of 90s, I guess, flashback page of hip, what we do, party scene, cruise, the music. Legendary Empowerment is one of our major, if not the major, sponsor and supporter of us, and we want to give her a big thank you very much for that. So if you guys haven't had a chance, go check out our page, Legendary Empowerment. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, support, and then sport it.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to sponsor you guys. I'm like so stoked to do it. So thank you.
No, you guys are family. You guys are family. So the floor is yours. Just say whatever you want. Give shout outs to whoever you want. We got about a minute and a half. So
minute and a half. Yours. Oh my God. I'm going to try to shout out every freaking biggest business I know. Okay. If you need a photographer or film, Sugar Mill Studios. He works with Lowrider Mag. I've worked with him for years. He's great, good people. Check out Sugar Mill Studios LV or Sugar Mill Studios. He did my daughter's quinceañera photos, and I've worked with him on Legendary Empowerment stuff. His wife has a brand also called Queen of Hearts, so check her out. The other people I mentioned, my musician friend, Tika Ray, that ran Exotic Illusions with me. Check her music out. Oh, God, I'm going to run out of breath. Okay, check out B-Boy Floor Rock.
Yes, yes.
Yes, please. Support the dance scene, man. It saves the youth. Like, for real, like, dancing saves lives. I could go on about that, but I only have like 30 seconds left. Oh, Jay Snaps. He's another photographer of mine. Yes. Vegas stylist. She's on. Lynette Martinez, my hairstylist, who's gone with me freaking everywhere to all kinds of events. Thank you. I love you so much. Drea's Dream Up Hair Studio. House Party in the 90s, of course. We have to support them. They're from, Oregon to LA, and they're big supporters of both of us. So shout out to them. Yeah, Ralphie. I'm super excited to support you guys working on that poster.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Is it? Oh.
This was awesome. Thank you for your time. We definitely got to do this again. You're invited anytime. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking part today. Come and chill here with us on RebelDaze702 Sessions. Check out our page again, Legendary Empowerment. This is Bree. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. All love. Bye.